You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Wednesday, January 12th, 2022. This week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we are continuing our discussion on the Catholic Church's defense, protection, and love of all things beautiful. And of course, the most beautiful part of creation is humanity. All humanity, whatever culture or belief that human might possess, but also no matter if they are born or unborn or old or young or crippled or not. All human beings were created in the image and likeness of God and therefore have an innate dignity that cannot be taken away, that cannot be compromised. And so yesterday we talked about how the Catholic Church is a one institution that really embraces all human beings. And we see this at work in the world today. The Catholic Church is a leading force in protecting the rights of the babies that are unborn. Also, the Catholic Church fights for all people that are vulnerable. Many Catholic churches offer financial aid or even food or resources for those who are homeless and poor, for those that are just in a bad situation with their family and need help. Many people come to Catholic churches looking for help, and many Catholic institutions are out in the world helping people directly. Now, today we are going to talk about how God is so good. He is so good to humanity, and He really desires for us to realize what a gift it is to be human. So first of all, not only did He create us in His own image and likeness, give us the gifts to think and choose, also the free will to decide the course of our lives, and the ability to really love and receive love, He also became one of us. On Christmas Day, we celebrate that God Himself lowered Himself all the way down to become one of us. Now, imagine you as a human being deciding you love an ant so much that you are going to lower yourself somehow to become an ant that could be stepped on, that we don't see as very valuable at all, right? But yet the gap between God and a human is even bigger than that. God loved us so much that He took on all of our weakness, all of our feelings, everything, and became one of us. And He not only became a strong man, first, He became a tiny unborn baby in the womb of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Now, when Jesus did this, of course, it was to show us a great example. It was to be one of us. But He made being a human even more dignified than it was before. God became one of us. And so that proves to us that being human is good. It's something so good that even God became human. But that's not the end of the story. We know, of course, that Jesus grew up, that He started His public ministry, healing people, preaching. Eventually, He was in Jerusalem, condemned by the Jewish people, crucified by the Romans. And through that suffering and death, He took on all of our pain, all of our suffering, all of that it is to be human. He took it all onto Himself. He died. But what happens next? He rose from the dead. Now realize that as a human, He lived and He died. And if we allow ourselves to be drawn to Him, to be attached to Him, we not only die to sin with Him, we ascend with Him as well. Because of course, Christ rose from the dead. and 40 days later, he ascended into heaven. So through this, all Catholic theologians through up and down the ages remind us that Christ became human. He gave humanity dignity through that. But he also asks all of humanity to come, unite themselves with him in suffering, in rejection of sin, and then to ascend to God with him. This is powerful, my friends. To be human, we are weak, we are broken. But in Christ, the perfect human, we also are made perfect. And so, Sprouts, I know that's some deep theology for us all this morning. I simply want you to remember that it is good to be human. God became human. God took on all that it is to be human. He experienced everything. And then through that, he brought us all up to heaven with him. And so, Sprouts, let's just say in Our Father as we reflect on the great mystery of the incarnation, of the resurrection, and as our ability to be part of it all when we unite ourselves with Christ.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be.
Just one more thing. As we wrap up this week and our series on the Catholic Church, we ask you to partner with us as evangelists. Let's help spread this podcast to other families and classrooms that might not know about us. It has been so important for our family to have this really easy way to get a little bit of catechesis each and every day in midst of our busy life. So think about who you can share this podcast with, who you can send a text, an email to, or who you can just mention this to the next time that you see. We're so grateful for your support, and we're so excited about starting a new year with you.
This show is a production of the Spoke Street Media Podcast Network. For more great podcasts, visit spokestreet.com.